ESPN made the decision that they made. They elected to keep me on First Take instead of Max Kellerman. As I've reminded people on numerous occasions, this was not 2009 where I got fired, when my contract wasn't renewed, where no one would hire me, not even BET or TV One. And I say that because obviously TV One and BET were networks that catered to African Americans, and even they did not hire me. Went 10 months without a job before getting hired by Fox Sports Radio and Don Martin, and now the boss of iHeartRadio, one of the bosses, the wonderful, lovely Julie Talbert. That's how all of that came to be. That's how all of that happened. But I was unemployed for 10 months prior to that. That was not the case with Max Kellerman. When ESPN elected to pull him off a First Take without question at my behest, because that's something that I didn't want to work with him, so you keep him, let me go, or you keep him and let me go. When that happened, Max Kellerman got morning radio and had his own afternoon show and didn't lose a dime. So it was just a matter of people being competitive and me feeling like this was not a winning formula, which to this day I stand by, which, by the way, has been proven correct because we've never enjoyed more success than we're enjoying right now. But the reason I bring all of that up is because I wanted to point to the consistency. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the excerpts from my book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, in which I speak about this very issue. In the damn book, it's there. Page 212, quote, a standard was set for 4 years before Max ever arrived, meaning with me and Skip Bayless. We had a mandate to live up to that, and we couldn't pull it off. I just reached a point where I knew we couldn't live up to what the audience demanded and didn't want to work with Kellerman on a debate show any longer. I didn't say SportsCenter. I didn't say boxing. I didn't say anything but First Take, a debate show. I said we were not ideal sparring partners. That was all. Continued on page 212. For 3 years, from 2017 to 2020, there were an inordinate amount of conversations with the honchos about my and Max's lack of chemistry. Not about ratings. We were still number one. Just how uncomfortable it became watching us together because we didn't enjoy each other. I had no desire to sit around and watch First Take falter. Keep going. Page 238. My book, Straight Shooter, New York Times bestseller. Doesn't get any larger than that. So I let them know. I'm not asking you to take Max off First Take. We both are assets to this company, but we do not work on a debate show, and we never will. So if you don't want to take Kellerman off the show, then take me off the show. I'll understand. I'm sure we can find something else for me to do here. That was the end. What's the news? I've been saying it since 2016. I'm sorry, 2020. 21, actually. I've said it for 2 years. I'll say it again. I have nothing against Max Kellerman. I am not happy that ESPN let him go a couple of years later. I'm not happy that he didn't enjoy the success that I thought he would enjoy. I don't wish him bad luck. I don't want him unemployed. We cover sports, athletes and coaches, general managers, president of football, basketball operations, and others come and go every day. No matter what level of success you had, Jimmy Johnson was let go after they won 2 Super Bowls. Players get cut. Players get traded all the time. Joe Montana was traded. Shit happens. It's just not vibing and working. And the audience, you, pay attention. You're the one that's retweeting. You the ones that was going all over social media. You the one that was sending messages into ESPN. This ain't working. It's stale. It's boring. There's nothing excited here. I mean, come on. Y'all were telling us. There's focus groups. There's intel. There's research that's done to talk about what resonates and what doesn't. We were not doing it. And I felt the reason why was he and I, not him, he and I didn't work together. We didn't enjoy working together. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. But I'm going to tell you what is a crime. Terrell Owens sticking his nose into this equation because he felt the need to join the conversation on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know that the video that I'm about to show you is one of the greatest insults you could ever give to a black man. But T.O., with no one talking about him, nobody bringing him up, nobody alluding to anything about him, decides on a Saturday morning, at least that's when I saw it, when I woke up, to share this old video of himself on First Take with me and Max talking about me as we were discussing the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. Look at this.
Max is going to get in here, and like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A. with what he's coming, you know, with his commentary.
With all due respect, my brother.
I'm just saying, dog.
Wait a minute. Wait to finish.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna check you right now. You don't cross the line.
I'm just saying.
Time. Wait a minute. You don't cross the line. I could have aired more because I handled the situation right there on live national television. First of all, what is blacker? Let's get that out the way. I could say, who are you to talk about blackness? Are you, Terrell Owens, a model of what a black man should be? I have files. Here's what T.O. is not telling y'all. He knows I wouldn't go there. I don't do that to people. I talk about what you do in terms of what your profession is, covering the world of sports. I don't get into your personal business. I got 30 years in the industry, dog. Google me, check my resume, talk to the athletes that know me. I'm not liked by a few. I know that. Don't give a shit. I'm not here to make friends. I'm a journalist, personality, pundit. But who is Terrell Owens of all people to define blackness? We want to get into who represents the black community better? You really want to have that discussion? Really? I wouldn't even do that to you. I'm not going to even waste my time with that. I brought that up to point out that I was sitting there minding my own business. I answered the question that had been brought to me by Joe Budden and his team. The question was about Max Kellerman. What does that have to do with Terrell Owens? What does that have to do with him? Not a damn thing. And I'm sitting up there and I immediately reacted on Twitter, which may not have been the right thing to do, but I just felt compelled to do it. And the reason I felt compelled to do it, ladies and gentlemen, was because, number one, I know he's full of shit. Number two, I know that he's starving for attention because that's the only way he might do something these days. Looking for anything to get himself attention. So, hey, I'm here to give it to you. You can have it because I'm here to help because God knows you need it. But I checked myself, not because of the inordinate amount of NFL people, and not just present players, but former players, not just the league office, but the NFL Players Association. I had calls from all over the place. Stephen, please don't do this to him. Please don't do this to him, because we all know the ammunition that's out there. I mean, my God, it's so much. It's a foulest thing. But that's not the point. I want it to be decent. And Kyrie Irving, who we all know I've had my differences with, damn it, that doesn't mean he's not right. And when Kyrie Irving went out and put out this tweet right here, Stephen A., can y'all call each other like grown, mature men and clear the air without all of the extra social media back and forth, get what you need off your chest and move on? Kyrie Irving was right. And that's a big reason why I'm not going to attack Terrell Owens. But it's not the only reason I'm not going to attack Terrell Owens. I'm not angry at Terrell. I'm not angry at T.O. I'm sad for him. It is rare in my lifetime that I've seen a person make more enemies out of people who genuinely cared and tried to help him than this man. It's really sad. T.O. can talk to y'all all he wants about what kind of person that I am and all of this other stuff. Let me tell y'all what's at the heart of the reason why he and I will never speak to one another again. Ain't nobody running from him. He's talking about how, let's see what kind of heat you got in my face. I just saw you in Colorado. We were there together at the game for Colorado, Nebraska. We were within a few feet of one another. You ain't say nothing to me. I ain't say anything to you. And we ain't going to ever talk again. And that's fine. I won't miss you. Because I know what you are. I know what you've become. And I'm not angry. I'm sad. Ladies and gentlemen, we stopped talking because after you saw that hit from Max Kellerman, Terrell Owens tried to sue me. He had lawyers contact ESPN, who obviously contacted me to try and sue me. Needless to say, it was laughable. It never went anywhere. He wasn't getting a damn dime, which he was hoping to get. That's why I was pissed off Saturday. Because I haven't spoken to him since that day, because he tried to sue me. He tried to sit up there and say I did something I've never done in my career. And that is take an off-the-record conversation and publicize it. I have never done that in my career. On the soul of everything I love, I don't do that. I've never done that. I would have never been able to enjoy the success that I've been able to enjoy if I had been that kind of guy. And he damn well knows it. Now, we could speculate as to why he would do something like that, why he would accuse me something like that, why he would get lawyers involved looking for money. I wonder why. Y'all speculate about that. But the point is, he tried to sue me. And from that point forward, I said I can never talk to him again because who knows what he's going to try to turn into a lawsuit. And I have stayed away from him from that day forward. But prior to that, ladies and gentlemen, why was T.O. on the show to begin with? This show that he says that I need attention for because I need ratings, even though we've been number one for a decade and counting. By the way, just Google it. It's 15 straight months. First Take has been up in the ratings. We've been number one every month, every year for 12 consecutive years and counting, with Skip, with Max, without both of them, with me, number one. But I need you for ratings. Okay, sure. The point is, prior to any of that, why was T.O. on the show? Do y'all know that T.O. asked to come on the show? The same show where he said he sounds more blacker than you, T.O. asked to come on First Take. Does T.O. get to come on First Take? If I don't want him on First Take, why don't you call ESPN and ask him? Who's the executive producer of the show? That would be me. He doesn't get to come on the show if I don't let him on the show. I let him on the show because he asked. And I was looking out for him. How do we know that I was looking out for him? Because I spent years defending Terrell Owens. I defended him for years. Ask Donovan McNabb. How about this one? How about Skip Bayless on First Take back in 2016 talking about T.O. to his face when I was off that day and T.O. and Ocho Cinco were on First Take as subs for me because I was off that day handling personal business. Look at this segment right here with Terrell Owens, Ocho Cinco, and Skip Bayless. Check this out.
And I thought about it last night because my man Stephen A. Smith, and we do miss him today, feels 10 times more strongly than Nelly does that I have been unfair and too hard on Terrell Owens. So I've soul searched about it.
Donovan McNabb, call him. Primetime Deion Sanders, who T.O. was at the game the other day, and for some reason has been on the sidelines with him. Call him. Chris Carter, who T.O. turned his back on when he went to shake his hand in a room full of Hall of Famers to welcome him to the Hall of Fame, turned his back on Chris Carter in full of a room of Hall of Famers. Ask him. Ask Michael Irvin. Ask them all. Ask them. The list goes on and on and on of people who know. Throughout his career, I have always tried to help Terrell Owens. Did y'all know he was supposed to be my first guest on Quite Frankly years ago? Promised me he was coming in to be the very first guest for my show. Backed out at the last minute for personal reasons that's none of y'all business. I said, no problem. Allen Iverson came and looked out for me. Do y'all know that one time I went to interview Terrell Owens because Terrell Owens asked me to come to California to interview him? And I came to interview him. I think it was California. It might have been another city. I apologize if I don't get it right. But I went to interview him, and Terrell Owens announced his retirement only to jump up out of the chair and start laughing and said it was a prank. I let that go. No problem, man. It's no big deal. Skip Bayless was furious over that. He thought that T.O. played me. No problem. Time and time and time again. Ask Andy Reid and those boys that were with the Philadelphia Eagles. Ask Troy Vincent. Ask Hugh Douglas. Ask all of those cats, McNabb included. Ask Brian Dawkins, B. Dawkins, all of those brothers. The locker room was divided. I was a columnist in Philadelphia. Who did I defend? Time and time and time again, I have defended Terrell Owens. When he did something, I tried to pick up the phone and reach him. I tried to talk to him. If I couldn't reach him, I'd write what I had to write in the moment. But overall, I always had his back. But don't y'all know? When you have T.O.'s back, that's when you're most likely to get stabbed in yours. Now, I'm not going to do what people expect me to do, even though I don't know why, because I don't get into people's personal stuff. But there's a litany of things, both professional and personal, that I can get into that I will never do. I'm not that guy. And I'm not going to do that to a brother nor anyone else. But make no mistake, I didn't do anything to T.O. I didn't deserve what he said on First Take. I didn't deserve what he retweeted this weekend. I don't deserve how he's been clapping back now. The only reason I felt the need to address this is because I want people to understand that the only reason I was pissed off at Terrell Owens this weekend is because this man tried to sue me. That hard up for money. You trying to sue. Lying about some off-the-record comment. I've never violated an off-the-record conversation in my career nor my life. I don't roll like that. I never have. I never will. But that's what he tried to portray, and I did not appreciate that. But to Kyrie Irving, I heard you loud and clear. When you're right, you're right. And no matter what differences we had, that doesn't mean that the spectacular talent that you are is not also a highly thoughtful individual that makes sense far more than you don't. Kyrie Irving was right. In fairness, I spoke to Prime Time. Prime Time was right. Shannon Sharp was right. Cats from the Players Association in the NFL and the league office was right. Contemporaries in the NFL, they were all right. Stephen A., don't go at T.O. like that. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to do it. I just want to let the world know. That's why I was ticked off at him. We can have differences and all of this stuff, fine, but to send lawyers after me, which, by the way, ESPN absolutely laughed off because it was a laughable situation. It's just beyond the pale. It's ridiculous. And I don't ever plan on talking to Terrell Owens in life again because, to be quite honest with you, I don't know what he'll do. He might tape my conversation. Not that I got anything to hide, because I don't. But I can't trust if the first thing you're going to do is go the lawyer route. I can't trust that. That's the truth. I'm many things, but I ain't no damn liar.
In a sense, it's time to get messy. I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. And boy, we got a lot to get into. But first, we're going to start with Stephen A. Smith. He straight up went in. He straight up violated Terrell Owens. Okay, now if you don't know, Terrell Owens and Stephen A. Smith were having a back and forth over the weekend on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yes, I'm still, me, myself, getting used to calling Twitter X. Shout out Elon Musk, I guess. He said he's about to make platform subscription based, so Threads will be up soon. I saw somebody say Threads is making a 3-1 comeback. Yep, if Elon makes Twitter pay for it, for sure, everybody will be on Threads. But that's neither here nor there. Stephen A. Smith and Terrell Owens were going back and forth on Twitter. Basically, look, Stephen A. Smith was on the Joe Budden podcast, and while the most juiciest clip, I guess, was the Max Kellerman discussion and Max Kellerman leaving First Take and how that actually happened, he also says that Shannon Sharp didn't leave on his own volition from Fox Undisputed. He actually got let go. So that explains why Shannon Sharp isn't there anymore. It was never because of him. It probably had something to do with Skip saying this isn't working anymore. And so Stephen A. Smith basically said that was the same thing that happened with Max Kellerman. It just wasn't working anymore. He told the bosses, hey, look, it's either me or him. And of course, they chose Stephen A. Smith, the main draw to First Take, because it never was Max Kellerman. Hell, the only reason we watched First Take was to see Max Kellerman debate Stephen A. or whoever debates Stephen A. It really didn't matter about Max. Max was just always there to play contrarian, but he did grow a fan base, and that fan base included the likes of Terrell Owens, and shit got stirred up when Terrell Owens basically reposted this clip of him going in on Stephen A. That in itself turned Stephen A. all the way up, and he let off a whole bunch of tweets that I won't read. It was a huge back and forth. The most interesting thing from this Twitter fight was the fact that Kyrie Irving stepped in like Jonathan Major. Stop the violence, my niggas, stop it. We don't have to fight. Basically telling Stephen A. to get on his phone with his, brother instead of airing his issues out on social media. And Stephen A. agreed. So Stephen A., instead of keeping the back and forth going with Terrell Owens on Twitter, he basically decided to address him on his podcast. And he said he might expose some things in the tweet about Terrell Owens, but as the podcast went on, he would say that, look, I'm not going to do that as a man. We all know his personal issues, and that's not my cup of tea. I am not TMZ. I am Stephen A. Smith. I critique you on your sports play, not what you do outside of that. And I respect that notion coming from Stephen A. Smith, to be honest, but the thing he had to reveal, the thing he truly had to expose about Terrell Owens was that T.O. tried to sue Stephen A. Smith for some off-the-record comment he said that Terrell Owens thought was a lie. And so I guess that's the thing that Stephen A. Smith had tucked, like, nigga, you tried to sue me. That's why I don't fuck with you. That's why you haven't been on ESPN First Take in forever. It's not because of the whole Max Kellerman, you saying I wasn't black enough and he should be invited to the cookout thing. No, it's the fact that you tried to sue me, nigga. And so I guess we'll see what T.O. has to say to that. I'm surprised T.O. was trying to sue Stephen A. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, or at least, no, he isn't a Hall of Famer. Has T.O. got his jacket yet? Probably not. He is one of the best wide receivers to ever play. So maybe he will, maybe he won't. He doesn't have a ring, but yeah, that has nothing to do with him. I agree with Stephen A. there. So who knows? But at the end of the day, we'll see where this goes. Anyways, what are your thoughts? Why do you think T.O. tried to sue Stephen A. Smith? Was it for petty reasons, or was it because Stephen A. Smith straight up violated him in private? Let me know in the comments below. I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. Peace.